Welcome to Record-ology.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. I hope you're having a wonderful and blessed day wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. For those of you that were able to make some time to watch the live yesterday, for those of you that weren't asleep while it was happening, thank you so much. For those of you that fell asleep during it, I fault you not, but I just appreciate time to hang out with you guys. I'm going to try and do some more in the morning my time so some of my UK friends can join. I definitely enjoy those as well, just sort of a spur of the moment thing. And I really appreciate each and every one of you. You guys blow my mind with your support, and I thank you for that. I really, really do. It's having you guys out there. It wouldn't be worth doing the stuff on this end if you guys weren't out there enjoying it. That's what it's all about. So we're just here to have some fun and forget our worries for a little bit, just to kind of have a little bit of escapism in this fun hobby of spinning plastic. Okay, so today we're going to look at a very interesting record. And I love how this works because the thumbnail already kind of gives it away a little bit, so I can't be like, aha, look at this. But it's an interesting one. So we've got this Arista Records record, but there's nothing on it. By the way, I had asked recently about these markings here. They're different on different records. I think they were called a pressing clamp. I'm not 100% sure, but apparently you can identify what pressing plant, pressed a record depending on the sort of the signature of that. And I'm curious to research that because I want to learn more. Really, really cool. But I saw this the other day and I was like, well, this is bizarre. So what in the world? Why would you have a blank record? Now let's set this thing down here for a minute. Brings to mind a recent record we looked at. This LP here, this is what appears to be a blank Capitol record. However, it is in fact the unused B-side to the Star Trek 3 soundtrack. There was a remix on this side, and as you can tell, it has an enormous run-out groove. Boy, that engineer had all kinds of... Man, look at the dust. What is it with the dust? Something about the electricity in this room. It's starting to get a lot of static in here. My wife doesn't even like coming in here anymore because every time she touches anything, she gets a little shock, and so do I. So it's kind of weird. But maybe I need some way to sort of demagnetize things. Or maybe it's just too much electricity in a small space. I don't know. But anyway, the recording engineer must have had all kinds of room to modulate those grooves because, as you can see, one whole song spread out. And that's how wide and that's why they have 45 RPM 12-inch discs, because there's so much real estate. But that's one song, you guys. So they can spend half the real estate of a 12-inch record modulating with no, issues of real estate whatsoever on a single-sided disc. Massive run-out groove. Anyway, so yeah, this is just the B-side of an unused record, and instead of it being completely smooth, it's got a concentric groove, a smooth one, that draws the needle in if you should, place it on there, which wouldn't really have any reason to do it. But this is different. This is different because it's smooth. And you may think at first glance, like, oh, it's a blank. Well, they're really, unless it's, designed to be cut by a lathe, records are pressed. They're not, there are blanks for lathes. Okay, a little interference there. Sorry about that. In fact, I can unplug that until we're ready for it. Just a little cell phone interference there. Okay. The likelihood of a record being pressed blank is low. That's what I'm trying to say. A record blank wouldn't have a record label on it, all that good stuff. So flip it over. What is it? Okay, that's the secret. So it's a one-sided record. It's not really a blank. In this case, it is theme from Close Encounters of the Third Kind by John Williams, who, if you don't know, come on, composed the music for Star Wars, Jurassic Park, among many other ones, Superman, Jaws, pretty much any blockbuster film with Steven Spielberg. An amazing, amazing talent. So this is a one-sided record, and even this, a 7-inch, 33 RPM record, this particular track only takes up one half of this small record with a pretty large run-out groove. And then, as we saw before, the backside is unused. And unlike the Capitol record we looked at a minute ago, there's no run-out groove. It's just purely smooth. This would be great for setting your anti-skate. Somebody the other day is kind of jeering me. They're like, this is a worthless video. This is my video about how to set your anti-skate. Who would have a smooth record? I get it, unless you've come across one, you wouldn't. But you can use like a smooth platter mat. That would work fine. But anyway, you could use that for this, or this for that, I should say. We'll listen to it here in a second. So, interesting record. Another thing that's interesting too is it says special complimentary single, not for resale. Gold Horizon Music Corporation, BMI, stereo. So that's 3 minutes of modulated music. 33 1/3, 1977. Composed and conducted by John Williams. So this is another one of those not for sale records that I love to get a hold of. And it's interesting, even though that this is not this record is not designed, it's not a 45 for one thing, but it's not designed specifically to be played on a changer, yet like the 45s that were, it's really hard to see on this angle, but it has a raised hub. So it's narrow in here, you can kind of see it from there, but this part right here, from here to here, that's a raised area. So you could stack it if you were so inclined, but today we're going to be listening to it on this record player. We haven't seen this so much lately. This is the first record player I got. Now, if you were in the live the other day, and we're talking about, me getting back into vinyl and not knowing some of the very basic things, like what's a preamp? 2017, when I started this channel, I didn't know what a preamp was. I really didn't. That just shows you, it confirms that I'm not an expert. I'm learning. It's a journey, and you are along for that journey, whether you want to be or not, because you're watching the video, but you don't have to be. I'm glad you are. I've learned so much from you guys. Anyway, this was a gift, and it's a 2-speed record player, and it has this common Skywind type mechanism. Although this one's interesting because there's no separate area for this. Is usually separated, and sometimes on like suspension. This one is just part of the plinth, and it's a cool little guy. It's very basic. It's got a cool blue light, little stereo speakers, and it's does its job well. Ceramic cartridge, all that good stuff. Anyway, enough about this turntable. This is also the one that we reviewed. You could buy new a couple of years ago for like $33 on Amazon. It's like really affordable to get a new record player, which is cool. Anyway, let's check this out. Again, 33 RPM. I'm going to put the needle in the middle there. Plug this back in. Hopefully we're not having a bunch of microphone interference again, but let's give it a little bit of a listen. Skip forward a little bit. Definitely has kind of a disco influence to it. I better be careful. I can't play too much music or our video will get demonetized, which isn't good. This thing is so basic, you guys. Check this out. It doesn't even have like the speed select isn't there. It doesn't have a queuing lever. I remember thinking when I had this, and again, so thankful for what I had, because we had a lot going on in our life at this point. So to even have a record player of any kind was just an incredible blessing. And I'm very attached to this because of that, because I know the sacrifice that went into this. But looking in hindsight, it's kind of interesting. So on the back, and we've had this on the show a couple of times, but it's got these recessed RCA stereo outputs. There's a speed select right there, which is kind of interesting. Just got foam pads on the bottom, some masonite. It's extremely basic, but it gets the job done. It's still ticking, still working. Not bad for $33 or whatever it was. So there you go, guys. That's an interesting record. Definitely one worth picking up. I think it was like $1. Anything that's unique like this, I'm like, oh, just take a look at that. You never know what you're going to get. Never know what you're going to find, especially when it's a complimentary single or not for resale, all that kind of stuff. I love that because it's unique. It's something that not everybody has. So, all right, let me know if you guys have any records like this, any of these one-sided ones. If you have any insight as to what this would be for. Would it be like a record release party? They would give these away. Would it be for radio stations to send out? Although, I would think that would be more like rock and roll or pop music, not orchestrated, John Williams soundtracks. But let me know down in the comments below, guys. That's going to do it for now, though. Happy record hunting. We will see you tomorrow.